For those of you who haven't heard, Bill Mack died yesterday at the age of 88. I know a lot of folks who are younger than me, they're not even going to know who Bill Mack was, but Bill Mack was a disc jockey for WBAP during my youth, and when I was a young guy. I'm sure he had a very long career, so there's no telling how many stations he was at, but he was at WAP for a long time. I know that. He had like a 40-year career, 40 maybe 50-year career in the music industry. And he was a songwriter, singer-songwriter, and he wrote, I don't know all the songs, but he wrote several songs for several different people. Probably the most notable one was Blue for LeAnn Rimes, or at least the most notable one for people younger than me was Blue for LeAnn Rimes. And the story is he actually wrote that song for Patsy Cline, and Patsy Cline was, my understanding, was going to record the song, but she died in, I think, a plane crash before she could record it. So he shelved the song for years until years later he was at open mic or somewhere in the stockyards, I think, and he heard a little 12, 13-year-old girl yodeling the blues and thought that that song would be perfect for LeAnn. And as she got older, I think 14, 15, maybe 16 years old, he allowed her to record that song, and of course, you know, the rest is history. She's a superstar. But anyway, he wrote that song and a bunch of other songs. His big claim to fame was he was a disc jockey, and he ran a thing called the Midnight Cowboy. He was called the Midnight Cowboy. I forget the name of the show, to be honest, but it ran from midnight till like 5 o'clock in the morning. And when I was younger, I was very fortunate enough to have done a lot of traveling and running all over the country, basically, when I was a young guy. And many, many times at midnight, I would crank the radio up, no matter really where I was at, in the South especially. You could crank up, you know, find WAP, the mighty WAP, the 50 kilowatt station or whatever they call it, you know, because you could literally hear that station. You'd be going across the South Kansas and pick up that station, or you could be in Georgia and pick up that station, and at night especially. And you could pick up the Midnight Cowboy and his trucking show. And he basically catered to truck drivers, I think, most of his time. But he played the classics like the Merle Haggard, Hank Williams, George Jones, Ray Price, guys like that. Anyway, I always liked him. I never knew him personally, although I have met him on occasion a couple of different times. I certainly could not claim to be a buddy of his. Just shook his hand once or twice, and he seemed like a nice guy. But the thing is about those radio shows and driving miles and miles and miles, listening to him, talking to truck drivers, and telling stories of other truck drivers and other wayward people traveling down the road, you just kind of felt a connection with him and felt like you knew. And I liked him, even though I didn't know him, as strange as that may sound. He opened up his show every night with Orange Blossom Special. And I have many, many memories of listening to that show with some very dear, close friends. Mike Driscoll in particular, Mike Green, Johnny Langston, Richard Gunn, who liked to listen to that show. Richard Gunn would listen to that show as we traveled around the back roads of Texas. And he closed the show for the longest time with a song called Clinging Hand, I think it was. His Clinging Hand. It was a Conway Twitty gospel song. I don't know if he wrote it, but a gospel song that Conway Twitty recorded, and then a female artist also, maybe Anne Murray or somebody like that, but a female artist. He would alternate back and forth, either the Conway version or the other version, and both versions were great. It's to this day my favorite gospel song. He wrote another song. Once again, the guy wrote tons of songs, but one of the songs he wrote what I think it was just genius. It was a genius song because number one, it's simple. Most people think to be genius you got to be complicated. I disagree. I think if you can be simple and great, that's real genius. This is a simple, great song. And the way I can prove that it's great is by the amount of recording artists over the years who have recorded it. Of course, Bill Mack recorded it. Cal Smith recorded it. Ray Price recorded it. Willie Nelson recorded it. I think Ray Charles, maybe. I think he recorded it. And Dean Martin, the awesome Dean Martin, recorded this song. So, I mean, these are guys who... Oh, and George Strait, by the way. George Strait kind of in the 90s came back because the guy wrote the song like in the 50s or 60s. But anyway, I think it's a genius song. I'm not going to do it justice, of course. I don't have an accompaniment, somebody accompanying me with a lead or anything like that. So this is going to be a very short, simple version. Once again, just what I think is an awesome song. It's called Drinking Champagne. Oh, I think it's one of the reasons that it's genius is because I think just about everybody can relate to this song in one way or another, male or female. But in particular, if you was a cowboy guy like me, running around in the late 70s, early 80s, going to the Texas honky-tonks and beer joints in Oklahoma, dating women and running around, this is a song that I think definitely every cowboy can relate to. Even though we drink beer, not champagne. I'm drinking champagne, feeling no pain till early morning. I'm dining and dancing with every pretty girl I can find. Having a fling, pretty young thing till early morning. Knowing tomorrow how we go with you on my mind. Guilty conscience, I guess, though I must confess I never loved you much when you were mine. So I'll keep drinking champagne, feeling no pain till early morning. Dining, dancing with every pretty girl I can find. Having a fling, pretty young thing till early morning. Knowing tomorrow I'll bring you home. Knowing tomorrow how we go with you home. Rest in peace, Midnight Cowboy.